What's up, guys? First off, I want to say excuse the chair. It's the only thing I could find. Dirty hands. Just finished cleaning the thing and not really dressed the best, to be honest. But you know what? This will be my last update for the Indian FTR 1200. For those of you who are interested in this beast of a bike, I got some stuff to tell you guys about my experience of owning it for about 5 to 6 months. It was kind of a short-term bike for the summer, and I just want to try it out. I saw it online and it looked really appealing. I'd say unique is one of the best things about this bike because it looks unique, and the bike looks a lot different from, I'd say, the rest of the bikes in this class, in this category. Call it a standard bike, call it a naked bike, I'm not sure. I owned two bikes before this. Started with a cruiser, kind of a beginning cruiser bike, then jumped way up to a Yamaha MT-09, which is like 800 to 900 cc's, and then out of nowhere got this. Originally I was gonna get a Rebel 1100 Honda, but those things were just way over my budget. This thing is definitely a looker. I got people giving me thumbs up when I go to the gas station to fill up. Guys would come up, usually they're older gentlemen. They're like, oh, this is an Indian. I remember when those guys went out of business, blah blah blah. Like, yeah, I'm like, yeah, I mean, look at this. This is the business right here. This is the business design. I mean, this is probably one of my favorite looking bikes because of its unique design. It's kind of classy and very like modern at the same time. I won't say it has a lot of modern tech though. It has modern touches, but it still has that old school feel, I'd say, especially when you turn the engine on and run it and drive it. It kind of shakes, kind of jitters, and it has that cruiser sound. Where should we start? I'd say let's talk about the comfort of riding. How is the seating? To be perfectly honest, I did a road trip on this thing that was about 150 miles there and back, and it was kind of miserable. After 30 minutes of riding, you kind of start feeling a little sore in your bottom and a little bit uncomfortable, but after like 45 minutes to an hour, your ass just hurts. Like, you start cramping up. I definitely will say this is not a long distance cruiser. This thing is a joyrider. This is for having fun around the town, like in the city. You can definitely go out in the like longer distances, I'd say, for like 30-40 miles at a time. From Seattle to Eastern Washington, I probably wouldn't recommend you going there unless you're stopping like 3 to 4 times, like every 30 minutes. Let's talk about the brakes. These are Brembo brakes. I don't really have anything to say about them. They feel like brakes. They feel fine. They're strong and they work well. There were times when I had to brake all of a sudden because, you know, cars, once in a while they will cut you off or whatever happens. They've been great. This thing just, it's not like super instant, but it's progressive and it bites and it feels really good. The good brakes. I never had any problems with the brake feel or anything like that. It's been great. And also, let's talk about the exhaust system. First off, I'm gonna cold start this thing. You guys give it a listen. Let me know what you think. Let me say, for a stock exhaust,
it sounds pretty good.
I love loud exhausts. I had cars with loud exhausts. I had my Yamaha had a basically straight pipe. So for me, it sounds fine. And I wish I had a aftermarket exhaust system on it because I'm sure it'll sound amazing. But for a stock exhaust, it sounds great. I don't know, there's definitely people on YouTube that straight pipe these things and they sound gnarly and loud. If you're comparing stock exhaust, I think this is one of the best from a stock perspective because it has that V-twin rumble as well. It's not super smooth, it's kind of more rowdy. What I like about this exhaust is that it has backfires. You can definitely hear them. They're not loud, but they definitely pop. When you warm up the engine a little bit, even when it's cold, it kind of popped a little bit if you guys heard. Definitely would put in a pipe aftermarket somewhere, but they're pricey. I mean, at least 500 bucks for a decent one. The suspension here is pretty comfy. On bumps, it's not harsh. You don't feel it crashing or anything like that. It's soft. It's not too soft. It's kind of in between. And of course, you can adjust the suspension. They do give you like a key when you buy the bike to adjust the stiffness and stuff like that. I don't bother. I don't care enough. I don't ride that much for me to like do all this stuff. Nor do I track the bike. So it's kind of like it's a toy. It's just a toy you buy and you have fun with it, just to enjoy life a little bit, you know. Okay, the lighting system, the headlights, the taillights. I think this bike, guys, of course I'm biased a little bit. Everybody has different tastes. I think the lighting system in this thing is so nice. It's so nice for this bike. Like, it has, in the front, it looks like a cruiser. In the back, it looks like the sporty naked bike. It like, the LED and the tail light was one of the things that sold me when I bought it. I'm like, this is so beautiful and aesthetic. Like, it looks so good. The way they designed the tail light, amazing. The headlight also, it's not just your typical circle. It has some more design into it, more curve. And like the inside of the headlight has more like patterns and stuff like that. And it lights up the road like nothing else. It's bright as heck. It like at night, it's like super bright. The forward vision on this thing is great. I have no complaints about the lighting. Like some bikes, you know, you buy them brand new and you're like, how is the lighting like halogen? Right now, all bikes need to have an LED. There's bikes you buy that are halogen. It's like kind of like, yeah, we're kind of past that time now. LED is the thing. It's been a thing for a while. So no question, lighting here is amazing. No complaints. I never had a problem with slipping on this thing, but I will say I never ridden it super hard or when it was wet and stuff like that. So I can't tell you how the traction is on this thing. I drove it on dry roads the whole time, pavement, on gravel. I'll say I drove on gravel here, and you gotta be careful because these tires are obviously for the street. So this thing slides around. You gotta be very careful when you're going off the road. In terms of power, I will say this bike is not as peppy as the Yamaha MT-09. It doesn't like jerk like crazy all the time. The clutch feel is pretty neutral, but this thing definitely has a lot of mid-range torque. It really pulls on the highway when you're fourth, fifth gear. It really gets going, I'd say. In the city, this engine definitely needs to be revved out a little bit more. But on the highway, it feels good. Like fifth, sixth gear, no problem passing. This thing will pass like nobody's business. But again, we're not looking at street bikes here. That's a different ball game. If you want a rocket ship, get yourself a freaking CBR 1000. Get yourself a Yamaha R1, obviously. This thing right here is if you're kind of more conservative, you want to die, you don't want to freaking get a ticket, and you want to play it more safe, but you want the bike to look good, to be stylish, to still be quick. And I think if you respect American branded motorcycles and for what they are, you'll definitely love this bike. A lot of people don't know about Indians. I'm surprised. Everybody knows Yamahas, Ducatis, Kawasaki's, yada yada, but not a lot of people know Indian, and they still make pretty badass motorcycles. Definitely not as expensive as Harleys, which I think is so appealing about these things. They're not as expensive, they're more attainable, and you're getting a bike that performs almost as good as the Japs, I'd say. If you like crazy technology and all these screens, it's definitely not the bike for you. And if you want that, you go get a BMW. I had no issues with build quality. I had no issues with stuff falling apart or popping off. Maybe because this is a good example bike, or generally because this bike is built very well. So this will be the end of this motorcycle. I am happy to give it away, and a gentleman is coming up to pick up tomorrow, and I am saying my last goodbyes to the thing. It was definitely really fun. Would I buy this bike again? Probably not, because it's pretty expensive still for what it is. For this kind of money, you definitely can get more performance if that's really what you want. And I kind of wanted a lot of performance, so I think this bike, it kind of delivered the performance, pretty much did. On the high end, it kind of dies out on the highway, and it's like you kind of want more. So probably won't buy again. But if you're a gentleman that's like a little bit older and you don't care about that, then it's perfect. I don't have really anything bad to say about it, except totally forgot one thing. Maybe it's just my bike, but I had a couple times when the battery died, and after literally being bought brand new, after a week or 2 weeks, it died. Maybe that's normal because it was sitting outside. It was covered up and everything, but maybe that's a normal thing. I'm not sure. But I had to trickle charge the thing a couple times, and that was a little bit annoying. And to trickle charge it, I had to remove a couple screws, take this cover off. It was pretty easy, nothing to complain about. Simple. The cool thing is you don't have to remove the seat and do all that above. So yeah, I'm not sure what other bike I'm gonna get after this, but definitely interested in something new. I don't really like riding the same things all the time. I like to try new things out. So we'll see what the future brings. But I thank you guys for watching the video. Hope you learned something from this thing, and maybe you're considering buying the Indian FTR 1200. So thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video.